All right. So today we are going to talk about change. And for those of you that hopped on a little later here, the reason I'm late is we got to my daughter's school. I was like, yeah, I'm going to make it back for Wake the Fuck Up Wednesday. And then she's getting out of the car. It's like, where's the backpack? Oh. So, but I made it. No tea, water. Woo! All right, change. So we're going to be talking about change. Hey, Rhoda, what's up? Change being inevitable, okay? But there's a second part to this that I really want you to grok today, and that is that we inherently have the resilience to deal with that change, okay? So that's what we're going to jam about today. So raise your hand, even though I can't see you, just do it. Or shout out if you have experienced a big change or event in the last year or two, even other than the pandemic. Don't even like go pandemic. It's like moving, job changes, relationship changes, right? We have those leaves changing, weather changing. Those are some of our more day-to-day things. Then we have big changes like loved ones dying, or tragedies, disasters, floods and earthquakes and things like that, right? The world is in a constant state of flux, and it's okay. I think often we start to wish that it wasn't so, right? Our brains like routine. In my medical practice, I can't tell you how many times people would try, like they talk about traveling and then they couldn't poo while they were traveling. Anybody have that problem? The body doesn't like big changes. The body likes routine and rhythm. Okay, this is what we're doing. So from an evolutionary point of view, it kind of makes sense that we don't want things to change. And we kind of like hold on to it, right? We kind of grasp onto it as if we're like, don't leave me, especially when it's good stuff. Someone we love, something we love, an experience we're having, right? And we like hold on to that shit, and inevitably it slips away. And so we get like rope burn because we're grasping onto something that isn't going to change, yeah? And so first we can have some self-compassion. Like, of course, this is bugging me out because from an evolutionary perspective, I want things to be reliable. I want to be able to predict. It's safe, right? But at the same time, when we continue to grasp what that rope burn looks like, when we take it out of the metaphor, it is our suffering. It is our, when someone breaks up with us, like devastation. It is when someone we love dying, how we are brought to our knees. And I'm not saying that those things are bad, right? I'm not saying that when we feel those things that it's bad. You've heard me talk a lot about the point is not happiness. The point is to feel and be present. And sometimes we choose difficult emotions. Like I want to feel grief. I want to be brought to my knees when someone I love passes, right? So in this way, we start to recognize, oh, a lot of my suffering is coming from me wishing that things didn't change, right? Obviously, when things are not going our way, we just can't fucking wait for things to change. We can't wait for the pandemic to be over, right? But we get really attached to the things we like and love and wish that they didn't go away, but they do. It was so funny. I was like ordering my facial products, and there was one that came up in the brand I get, and it popped up and it was like new age defying serum. And I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? And I like clicked on it and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm 48, so I tend to click on things like that more, but it's like, hey, why are we so attached to our faces not changing, to our bodies not changing, right? We think we're not gonna change, and we do, and then we try to stop it. We buy insurance and shit. We buy products to try to stop it, but it's inevitable, right? And so, oh, what was that funny saying? It's something like women choose their partner expecting them to change and they don't. And men choose their partner expecting them to not change and they do. So classic, right? So this theme of change, this change, it is an aspect that we deal with every day in our lives, right? We're in autumn right now. It's so obvious that things are changing. Like literally the leaves are changing around us, right? So I wanted to read this poem by Mark Nepo. Check this out. It's so fucking beautiful. So he actually starts off saying everything is beautiful, but he doesn't say everything's fucking beautiful. So listen, here he goes. Everything is beautiful, and I am so sad. This is how the heart makes the duet of wonder and grief. The light spraying through the lace of the fern is as delicate as the fibers of my memory. In the very center, under it all, what we have that no one can take away from us, and all that we've lost face each other. It's there that I'm adrift, feeling punctured by a holiness that exists inside everything. I'm so sad, and everything is beautiful. And this is part of the deal of being human, right? When we're not rushing around and getting all crazy and just going through the motions of life in some kind of unconscious way or checking off to-do lists, we become aware that we're in the middle of an ever-changing, impermanent experience. And maybe that tenderness, that tender ache can be a little bit too much sometimes. We think it's too much. Maybe in the middle of a busy day, we're like, I cannot feel that tender sadness, that beautiful sadness. But y'all, this is what makes life sacred every day. I remember intentionally taking myself out of the busyness and doing a solo trip in the wilderness. And I was reflecting on death, as I often do, because of how it helps me live this life in a more sacred way. And I was like, I wept. I was like sobbing because I was like, I am so attached to this beautiful earth. I'm so attached, and it's so beautiful with waterfalls. And I love the feeling of hot granite stones on my skin. I love swimming naked in alpine lakes. And I love witnessing and looking at granite peaks and hiking in them and climbing them. Like I am so attached to the beauty, and it feels so achingly sad that one day I know I'm going to leave it. I was talking to a client who's doing, so I have a program where I walk people through living as if it's their last 3 months of life. Obviously, it's usually not. And we are working in the context, right? But, really shifting perspective, like what if this was it? And she said to me, I wish I had used my body more. I wish that now I'm older. She was way younger than me. Now I'm older, and I just wish that I'd gone out and climbed and done more of that cool stuff. And it's like, yes, y'all, yes. When we realize that things are going to change, our bodies are going to change, our lovers are going to change, where we live is going to change, our jobs, the weather, people we love are going to leave us, they're going to die. We are one day going to leave this body. When we recognize that, life become so sacred. Like I can be coming home and I'm just like running around all crazy and say to my daughter, oh, hi, hey, how's it going? And then I pause and I go, hold up. You are alive right now. You are healthy. Let's just pause for a second. And I'll just like turn around and look at her and be like, damn, I love you so much. Right. And we feel it really at our core. We let it permeate our cells. So often we resist change because of the discomfort that it causes when we go, oh, fuck, I didn't plan on that. Like when I'm bringing my daughter to school today and I'm all excited because we got out on time and everything. My husband usually brings her. And then I go, oh, fuck. Backpack's not there. I'm going to be late for Wake the Fuck Up. Like things change, right? We don't like that. We resist it. But the bigger picture of change, right? When we back up a bit, we see, wait a minute, this is life. This is the nature of life. And if I cannot get attached to it, I can more often be in the beauty of it. And this is where ZG comes in. ZG being that radiant inner confidence, right? That radiant inner confidence of, you may have heard me use the analogy, you know, we stand at the ocean's edge and the fucking waves are coming and they're knocking us down, and we get up, wipe the sand off our face, get it out of our ears, and then it comes and knocks us down again and knocks us down again. And then we go, you know what? I'm just gonna like stand here and fight it. And that doesn't work because it's the fucking ocean. And then we turn around and we run, and then the ocean still can catch up to us. But where true radiant inner confidence comes from, that almost spiritual resilience, is where we can get knocked down and we know we're going to get back up again. We just know it. Why? Because you already have, you made it this far. You can handle it. Whatever change is coming your way, you have that ZG within you, that radiant inner confidence. Think about it just from a genetic perspective. We have had like thousands of generations before us that handled crazy shit, crazy cataclysmic events, like crazy life events. You know, both of my parents were in World War II. Crazy. They had me late. Yeah. And here I am. Here you are. We can handle the change. Let's not even wonder about that anymore. Sometimes it helps me to reflect on the people that have suffered some intense shit and gotten through it. Like one of my friends lost her child. And to some people, they're like, I can't even imagine. Even people who don't have kids are like, yeah, that would bring me to my knees and not sure if I would get back up again. And it was so powerful for me to watch her get back up again. It was a gift, really, because it was like, that's something so many people fear. And I would never survive that, right? And here she was. She openly shared her path, right? And now she's up and about. And that experience has like tenderized her heart. And the work she does is more powerful in the world as a result. Because she knew she could get back up, and she got back up. And you have that resilience within you too. It's not like, it's not like you have to get it somewhere. You have to uncover it. This is what we do in Freedom School, right? In fact, this month is called Mastering Emotional Wellness, right? Like this is shit that we should have learned in school. I wish we would have learned it in school, right? But we don't. Instead, people like you and I, we get a divorce, we get cancer, whatever. And then we're like, maybe I should learn some of this shit. What was that? Right? So hopefully This will make it down to the young uns eventually, a little earlier in life. But listen, you have the capacity. So don't be afraid of that change, right? Embrace it. And trusting, when you can trust that you'll make it, I think it was Adyashanti, I might be wrong, who gave an analogy of like their thumb, like having a thorn in your thumb. And to protect it, you like put it in a box, right? And then you walk around like this, like, don't bump my thumb. Don't fucking bump my thumb. And it's like, oh, instead of spending our lives protecting the thumb, what if we just removed the thorn? And the thorn being our attachment to shit not changing when we really like it. When we let go of that, then we can see, oh, right, this is part of life. Like I remember when my father died, my spiritual practice was in a good place. And when he died, he was in his 80s. He'd been kicked out of hospice. Like he was supposed to die 2 years before. And then he like recovered and then they kicked him out of hospice. I had him another 2 years. When he died, oh, I was so sad, so sad. And it was like, I could hear almost like all my teachers in my mind, like, and this is life. This is what happens. I'm trying to think of her name right now. I wonder if I could find it. I can't think of her name. There's a teacher. I'm going to look for it one more time. Can't find it. Okay. Anyway, she would teach about death to her 5th grade class. And she said, okay, today we're going to talk about, or 5-year-olds. Yes, children that young, they're so curious about death. She said, today we're going to talk about it. I want you to go outside and find things that have died. Like you were born, these things were born, these things have died. Go and gather. And they gathered like leaves that have fallen, branches, maybe dead beetles, stuff like that. And then they talked about it, right? And she asked, what do y'all think of this? Is death okay? And a little boy raised his hand and he said, yeah, if nothing died, there wouldn't be room for us. That's some wise shit right there from that 5-year-old. If things didn't change, think about all the movies you've watched, the vampire movies, and how most of the vampires are like, this fucking sucks. I wish I could die, but I'm immortal. And oh, like all my friends die and I can never like tell, like, right? There's this theme throughout life that we inherently know things are supposed to change, yet we resist it. I want to read another poem to you. This topic calls for a lot of poetry, right? So, gosh, there's 2 things I want to read to you. You know what? I think I'm just going to let you listen to the podcast that drops tomorrow instead of reading both of those. I'm going to end with this poem by Hafiz. Death is a favor to us, but our scales have lost their balance. The impermanence of the body should give us great clarity, deepening the wonder in our senses and eyes of this mysterious existence we share and are surely just traveling through. If I were in the tavern tonight, Hafiz would call for drinks. And as the master poured, I would be reminded that all I know of life and myself is that we are just a midair flight of gold and wine between his pitcher and his cup. If I were in the tavern tonight, I would buy freely for everyone in this world, because our marriage with the cruel beauty of time and space cannot endure very long. Death is a favor to us, but our minds have lost their balance. The miraculous existence and impermanence of form always makes the illumined ones laugh and sing. Now, I don't know about y'all. I'm not illumined. And I don't laugh and sing with every change. But what I do know is that the more I accept change, and the more I trust in my ZG and my resilience, the more fully I live life. And that is what I wish for you today. Okay? Trust you can handle the change. I love you. Bye all. You're welcome. Ciao.